Hi, it's Teresa, and I am here today to give you my final book report. So, the book that I chose for the third and final book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I was so excited that this was on the reading list because I actually read this. Well, if it's the 20th anniversary edition of this book, then I read it 20 years ago because I remember reading it when it first came out. And I also had the opportunity to go see Eckhart Tolle, who was doing a speaking tour. And he came through Chicago, and a girlfriend and I went and saw him speak. And I have to say, he is a garden gnome come to life, and he has a funny laugh. He's a little bit odd. He's a little bit of a strange man, but I remember him being but very funny, very engaging, and it was great to actually be able to see him speak in person and talk about this topic, because the power of now to me is something that I learned just through my yoga practice and as a yoga instructor, and that being in the now is such an important thing, and that in Buddhism, the idea is to let go of suffering by detaching and letting go of the past and not worrying about the future and really being in the now, because now is the present moment. It's called the present for a reason. It's a gift. This is your moment of power. This is the moment where you get to choose and make decisions, and the past is over. You can't change it, and the future isn't here yet. So there are illusions. And so for me, the power of now is basically about how you can take this present moment, and this is your moment where you can make choices, decisions. You can choose how you feel in this moment. What emotion do you want to have? What is, how do you react to things? How do you react to problems? So for me, I love the concept of the power of now, that you have control in this moment and that you can create the life that you want. One of the aha moments I had from this book, even the first time I read it, was when he talks about when he's having his crisis and he's having these thoughts, and then he thinks, well, wait a second, who is it that's observing these thoughts? Who is like the eye of the eye? Who's this eye? Who is this observer of these thoughts that I'm thinking? Because it's the ego that's having the thoughts, the mind is having the thoughts, but who's the observer? And I thought that was just such a deep concept. I thought that was really fascinating, and it does really make you think, like, who is that? Who is all living up here in my head? So I really liked that. I like the idea of detaching, of letting go, of separating yourself from the ego mind. I like how he talks about just lost my train of thought here. About the how physical things, physical pain in the body can get stuck, the emotional body and the pain body, and that all of these, everything's energy, right? Everything's energy, and all of these things get stuck in the body and cause problems. And I think that's one of the reasons why breath work is so important, because breath work keeps you in the now. If you are focusing on the conscious connected breath, it's conscious because you're aware of it, you're focusing on it, you're paying attention to it, you're not letting your mind wander, and that's keeping you in the now. So, I mean, there are a lot of different breathing techniques that, that's what breathing techniques are for, right? They're there to tether you to the present moment and to keep your mind from wandering off. And I think that it does. Breathing obviously releases a lot of the stored emotions, which can alleviate pain in the body. It is keeping you in the moment. It's keeping you focused, and it is detaching from the illusions of the past and the illusions of the future. I used to teach my yoga students that the past was a canceled check, the future is a promissory note, and the present is cash. And cash is king, and cash is the only thing that's real, and cash is the only thing that you can, spend in the moment. And so this book just reaffirmed to me all of the things that I believed and had just kind of learned in my yoga studies and my yoga practice, and looking at Buddhism and the Maya, the illusions, the things, and how we need to be open to let things, flow in and out, right? Everything you've got, like I always taught my students, you can't hold water with a fist. You have to be open. And I think that's really the big concept of this book as well, is that you just have to be open and allow things to happen and allow things to come in and to go out and not to attach yourself to anything. The problem is that most of us attach to things. We're attached to the things that we want. We're attached to things that we already have and are afraid to lose. And that's what really causes so much of our suffering. And so I just really like this book, the concept of the book of being in the now and practical ways to do that. And I liked the way it was written, especially at the end where he's like, answering questions and he's having a conversation with somebody. And it's I just think a very well-written book and so completely timeless. The challenges of the book, obviously, staying in the now is really hard. If it was easy, we would do it all the time, and that's the thing. I mean, it's not that easy to stay in the now. It does take, conscious effort to do it, but I love, all the different techniques that he has, and I do think that even if you took just 10 minutes a day to meditate and to just really try to be in the present moment, even 10 minutes, and to alleviate any suffering you're feeling. So I loved that about the book. But I mean, doing it's hard. I mean, I read this 20 years ago, and am I always in the present moment? I am not. I'm human like everybody else. So it's a work in progress, right? It's something that we have to work at every day. But I mean, I loved being able to reread this book because it was a reminder that this is something we should make an effort towards, right? If we're going to put our time and attention into something, it should be living in the now and really understanding why the now moment is so powerful. And whether or not, I mean, it says it's a guide to spiritual enlightenment. Whether that's true or not really sure. I think it's a guide to understanding yourself better and letting go of, a lot of suffering, which is really, if that's spiritual enlightenment, there you go. I think it's really useful for that. How would I use this as a breath worker? I mean, again, I think because consciously breathing connects us to the now, and that's where our power is. And so this is using the breath as our place of power, right? The breath is powerful. The breath has the ability to heal, to release, to let go. So many things, to moving energy through the body. And I think at the end of the day, we're using breath work to make ourselves feel better. That's why we do everything that we do. We want to feel better. And I think this book is just a great tool, one, to help us understand why it is that we don't feel so good. What is causing our suffering? And then what do we do about it? And breathing is certainly an amazing technique. Certainly been an amazing technique in my life to stay grounded in the moment and to heal and to feel better and to let things go and to detach. And so I love this book because I think it asks a lot of really good questions, right? It makes you think. And I highly recommend this book. And again, I'm just so grateful that I had the chance to reread it, and I'm so grateful for the chance that I actually got to see Eckhart Tolle in person and talk about all of these concepts. It was a long, long time ago, but I just think it's a great book. So I'm so glad that this was on the reading list. I'm glad I had the chance to read it again. I think it was even more important to me now to reread it, having 20 years from when I first read it to put a lot of these practices into use. It just really helped me kind of fully understand the concepts of the book. Because I think the first time I read it, it felt really deep and a bit overwhelming. This time, I think I just understood the concept better, and it was a much easier read for me this time. So I'm just so grateful for the book. Loved it, and I think it just goes hand in hand with conscious connected breathing and all breath work, and it's a great book. So no criticisms of this one. This one I think is great. So that's all I've got to share about this one.